Speech number 5. In the name of God, go. Oliver Cromwell. Speech dismissing the Rump Parliament, 20th of April, 1653. Oliver Cromwell, born 25th of April, 1599 in Huntingdon, England. Cromwell became a member of Parliament in 1628, and on the outbreak of civil war, he emerged as a highly competent cavalry commander. He was largely responsible for the victory at Marston Moor in 1644. With Sir Thomas Fairfax, he organized parliamentary forces into the new model army and won the important Battle of Naseby in 1645. He was one of the first signatories of Charles I's death warrant in 1649, and by now the most powerful figure in the country. He spent much of 1649 through 1651 suppressing rebellion in Ireland, Scotland, and at the Battle of Worcester in 1651. The next 7 years of his Commonwealth regime saw war at sea with the Dutch and Spanish reforms to improve Irish and Scottish political representation through parliaments, though parliaments were intermittent, the readmittance of Jews to England, and attempts at religious toleration. In 1657, he refused the crown, preferring his title Lord Protector of England, Scotland, and Ireland. He died the 3rd of September in 1658 in London. In 1661, his body was exhumed after the restoration of Charles II and strung up. In 1653, Britain was 4 years into its experiment with a military republican government. Following the years of civil war in the 1640s and the trial and execution of the Stuart king Charles I. Since the later 1640s, the pivotal figure in the country's politics had been Oliver Cromwell, an East Anglian gentleman farmer and a Puritan convert. Cromwell emerged as the parliamentary causes military leader of distinction. His skill had proved decisive in defeating the Royalists, and his political arm-twisting helped ensure the cruel necessity, as he put it, of executing Charles I in January 1649. Despite the king's death, the new Commonwealth remained vulnerable. In 1649, Cromwell led his troops to victory over pro-Stuart Catholics in Ireland, but not without earning an enduring reputation for unnecessary ferocity. In 1650, he defeated Scottish rebels. Most significantly, he vanquished the combined Scottish-English royalists supporting Prince Charles' attempt to claim his father's throne at the Battle of Worcester in 1651. In the absence of the traditional hierarchies of church and state, it now fell to Cromwell to impose order, but also to balance the interests of a fragmenting country. The position of Parliament remained difficult. Ostensibly, the civil wars had been fought to protect the rights of Parliament, but Parliament itself was beset by disagreements, and the emergence of the new model army as the most powerful entity in the land complicated matters. Already in December 1649, soldiers under Colonel Pride had purged the long Parliament, sitting since 1640, of members not deemed radical enough leaving a Rump Parliament of about 60 members more conducive to the army's agenda. But tensions remained, and in 1653 Cromwell's patience gave way to a spectacular style. On 20th April, Cromwell attended Westminster Hall as members of the Rump Parliament commenced a third reading of bill about rights for particular categories of electors, controverting an agreement with the army that this would not happen. His patience snapped as he harangued the factious members as a pack of mercenary wretches and of sordid prostitutes who, in his view, had grown intolerably odious, and the whole nation summoning soldiers to remove the mace, the shining bauble, from the chamber, the symbol of Parliament's authority. Cromwell concluded his lambasting by ordering the MPs, quote, "In the name of God, go." It was a phrase that would echo down the ages. It was used again devastatingly against Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain in May 1940, just before his resignation. A new parliament, the so-called bare-bones parliament of 140 appointees, was called but soon dismissed. Cromwell's chief instrument of authority became his Council of State, and later he accepted the title of Lord Protector, a quasi-royal status. The Cromwellian years remained paradoxical, for although the methods of governing were experimental and often authoritarian, the reforms and goals were sometimes relatively liberal. For example, in readmitting Jews into the country and striving for religious toleration. But the center could not hold in the absence of its figurehead. When Cromwell died in 1657, his designated successor, his son Richard, failed to exert authority. In 1660, it was another military commander, General Monk, who engineered the return of the monarchy in the shape of Charles II. Quote, "It is high time for me to put an end to your sitting in this place, which you have dishonored by your contempt of all virtue, and defiled by your practice of every vice. Ye are factious crew, and enemies to all good government. Ye are a pack of mercenary wretches, and would, like Esau, sell your country for a mess of pottage, and like Judas betray your God for a few pieces of money. Is there a single virtue now remaining amongst you? Is there one vice you do not possess? You have no more religion than my horse. Gold is your God. Which of you have not bartered your conscience for bribes? Is there a man amongst you that has the least care for the good of the commonwealth? Yes, sordid prostitutes, have you not defiled this sacred place, and turned the Lord's temple into a den of thieves by your immoral principles and wicked practices? Ye are grown intolerably odious to the whole nation. You were deputed here by the people to get grievances redressed, are yourselves become the greatest grievance. Your country therefore calls upon me to cleanse this Augean stable, by putting a final period to your impetuous proceedings in this house, and which by God's help and the strength he has given me, I am now come to do. I command ye therefore, upon the peril of your lives, to depart immediately out of this place. Go, get you out. Make haste. Ye venal slaves, be gone. Go. Take away that shining bauble there, and lock up the doors. In the name of God, go.